station that's on your side. This is News 12, First at 5.
Next, First at 5, ordering alcohol just like you order your groceries or takeout. That could be a reality soon in South Carolina. A look at the planned bill coming up.
But first, a bill aims to fund construction for a new arena here in Augusta. House Bill 230 already passed the State House on Friday.
It's not a done deal yet, though. Our Nick Veland is live at 5 on what this means for the future of the James Brown Arena.
That's right, Meredith. Well, this bill has passed in the Georgia House of Representatives. Now it's one step closer to being on the ballot in November. And if approved, that will be major changes to the James Brown Arena behind me and also the Bell Auditorium. And you can see here that these images are of what the Coliseum Authority is calling the new James Brown Arena and how those involved plan to pay for a new arena if through C-Splosh, which will be an extra 0.5% sales tax in Richmond County. Cedric Johnson with the Coliseum Authority tells me 30 to 40% of the funds for this facility would come from people not in the area. If this were to pass, this would basically be a tax on anyone buying certain items in Richmond County. And Johnson says there are high hopes now that this has gone through the House and now on to the Senate.
Has passed the House, so it's going to the Senate. So we're looking forward to the same outcome we've had in the House. But again, our delegation has done just a magnificent job in helping us go through this process.
And coming up all new on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we'll have more on how they plan to get this on the ballot come November.
All right, thanks for that update there, Nick, down at the James Brown Arena for us. Taking a live look out coming up in just about 10 minutes. Thanks, Riley. New at 5, the body of a Georgia man who went missing in Baton Rouge has been found. The Baton Rouge Police Department says 42-year-old Nathan Millard was found around 3:30 this morning. Millard was reported missing while on a business trip in Baton Rouge. He lived in Walton County, that's between Atlanta and Athens. There's still no word on how he died. Peaceful protests just one day after flashbangs and fireworks erupted in Atlanta. 23 people have been charged with domestic terrorism after violence broke out at the future Atlanta Public Safety Training Facility last night. This is surveillance video from where construction is underway for that training site. The group changed into black clothing and entered the construction area and began throwing large rocks, bricks, Molotov cocktails. Police say this was no protest and that the crowd tried to hurt the officers at the site. This has been the site of clashes for months now between police and those hoping to keep that center from being built.
The Low Country community speaking out just days after a jury found former lawyer Alec Murdaugh guilty of murdering his wife and son. Murdaugh's family, known for its generations of lawyers, has long-time roots in Hampton County in the southwest part of the state. The case has put Hampton in the national headlines, now attracting tourists who made a stop in town while attending the trial in Colleton County. Many people there knew the family, and they say they feel justice was served.
Well, it is sad in a lot of ways because lives have been destroyed forever.
This is a talk of everything. It's, everybody's Alec Murdaugh. Did he do it? Did he not do it? You know what I'm saying? Oh, look at all the evidence, and then, but if like I said, if you know the Murdaughs, this town was influenced by the Murdaughs. They could get away with whatever they wanted to at one time, but that day is over today.
Alec Murdaugh was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences in prison for the murders of his wife and son. Murdaugh's legal team says they intend to file an appeal within 10 days.
A series of bills under consideration at the State House right now could make it easier to buy alcohol, but harder to serve it in South Carolina.
Our State House reporter Mary Green has the details.
These 3 bills are all going through the state Senate right now. One is awaiting a debate on the Senate floor, and it would make it easier to drink at the airport. That bill would allow people 21 and older to order alcohol at bars and restaurants past TSA security at 5 South Carolina airports and then drink them throughout the terminal.
Have other states done this? I don't think I've ever seen anyone having a drink outside of the actual bar in a restaurant anywhere I've ever been.
I don't know that I
necessarily seen that either, Senator, but I've seen a lot of cramped restaurants.
The second bill would impose a training and certification requirement for anyone who serves alcohol in the state, an estimated 32,000 people. While advocates argue this legislation could save lives, others say the fees to receive that training and certificate could prevent some people from getting or keeping bartending and serving jobs. The final bill would permit curbside pickup and delivery of beer, wine, and liquor directly through the retailer or through a third-party service like DoorDash. That company says in other states where this is already legal, it prohibits delivery to intoxicated people and requires they show their ID upon delivery and when ordering. Those would also be required under this bill.
You must upload a visual of your ID, scan it into the system, both the front and the back. That's actually verified by a third-party digital technology services that bumps it up against the state driver's license databases across the country.
The two latter bills recently advanced out of the Senate subcommittee. That's the first of several steps that bills have to take to becoming law. Reporting from the State House, I'm Mary Green.
Curbside pickup of alcohol was allowed during the earlier part of the pandemic through an emergency order that Governor McMaster issued.
So that's no longer permitted in South Carolina because that order has since expired. After a 9-year hiatus, the Augusta Invitational Regatta returns to Langley Pond Park. The pond will close this Thursday until Saturday afternoon for that event. Everyone is invited to come out and watch the rowers from around the region to compete. The playground and shelters will stay open, but the disc golf course will be closed Saturday only. The regatta ended due to the dam replacement and park renovations. Well, we are 6 days away from springing forward. Next, live at 5, we are prepping you and your family for the time change. Riley?
And we do have one more warm day this week, but heading past Tuesday, we are looking at a much more seasonal outlook and cooling off those temps. I have a full update for you just after the break. Rest of the week, we're going to stay into the 60s, and that should continue even in the next week as well.
Okay, thanks for that, Riley. See, that pollen is all in my throat. I cannot even breathe.
Gotcha.
Breathe. Yeah.
Breathe.
Yeah, because that's what it sounds like. Yeah, warming temps and a nice coat of pollen, just a few signs that spring is on the way and our throat closing up. It means it's also time to change the clocks again for parents everywhere, including pup parents, because they don't know the time change either.
Yes.
This is a very challenging time.
Hallie Turner sat down with a mother and sleep specialist to find how to not lose your mind when you lose sleep.
As a mom of 3 under the age of 4, Paige Wimmer says for her family, there's only one way to survive.
Infants and toddlers especially thrive on routines.
For her, as soon as her children nail a schedule, it's time to swap the clocks, creating a disaster.
Well, most parents love sleep, and most parents don't like change. Just the hour change can really throw off some families.
Congress debated whether to change the clocks for good and leave them there last March to keep spring forward in place. It passed the Senate, but stalled in the House. The certified sleep consultant says if it's brought up again this year, spring forward is the best option.
Just an hour difference can really be hard for kids to go back and forth. Having the same time, we wouldn't have to adjust their schedules by an hour, which can sometimes take 1 to 2 weeks to get them back on the right time.
It's unknown if the bill will come up for discussion again this year, but in the meantime, Paige says there are some things you can do right here at home to gradually prepare your child before you pull your hair out. With the click of the sound machine, moving up the clock a little, closing the blackout curtains, make for a longer sleep when the sun is still out.
The week of the time change, like a week before, start moving the morning wake up, the nap and bedtime 10 minutes earlier each day if you want to do a gradual change.
Reporting in Augusta, Hallie Turner on your side.
And the same goes for your pups and cats. Maybe feed them a little bit earlier.
Yeah, that's when they start bugging you. They're like, I want to eat. And you're like, you feel bad, so you want to feed them so bad.
Right. So it just doesn't go for kids, it also goes for pets. Spring Forward, by the way, happens on Sunday, and that gradual change can really make a big difference.
Absolutely. And Congressman Rick Allen tells News 12 the Sunshine Protection Act has not been reintroduced yet, but if there are any changes, we will keep you posted on that.
Absolutely. Finding affordable childcare. That can be tough. Coming up, what to look into before you choose a daycare. We're back in a bit.
Call 1-800-CALL-KEN.
A warning tonight for any parent considering in-home daycares. One couple is sharing their story so you know what to ask. It comes after their own child suffered second and third degree burns at the home of his daycare provider.
Their son is doing much better now, but his family is still paying thousands in medical bills. Our consumer investigator, Rachel DePompa, finds out how you can keep your family safe from a daycare dilemma.
What book do you want, Budley?
2-year-old Luke Herring loves story time.
Wherever, every day I love you, and I will always love you.
His family is just hopeful he won't remember his story from when he was just 18 months old.
He was screaming bloody murder. It was a horrible scene.
Marianne and David Herring both work and needed flexible childcare for little Luke. They were running up against what many of us face: limited space at daycare facilities and the high cost. More than $10,000 each year. That's the staggering average price families pay for childcare.
Just on a weekly basis, averaging between $210 and $250 a week.
Family friends recommended a woman with a home daycare not far from their house.
Her exact words to us, I'm completely legit. And because she was a family friend, because my neighbors knew her, I just didn't question any further.
On February 8th of 2022, the Herrings got the call no parent ever wants to receive. While the caregiver was making muffins, Luke burned his hands on the inside of an oven door. The Herrings believe there were more children in the daycare than the provider was able to care for.
She put aloe vera on his hand, and that was pretty much it.
Marianne and David drove Luke an hour away to an emergency burn center where he stayed for 18 days. He underwent 5 surgeries.
You can see the scars there, all through here, as well as all up his hand here.
The family would later find out their provider had no insurance and was not licensed with the state.
Would you use a home daycare again?
No.
No, never.
In every state, the rules to inspect and regulate daycares are different. Some states require home daycares to be licensed, some do not. In many states, a license would mean oversight of things like inspections, set child to provider ratios, and insurance requirements.
We found incidents all across this country where children were injured inside at-home daycares, families filing lawsuits in Indiana, Illinois, North Carolina, and Missouri, to name a few. Finding a place for your child is already difficult. According to data from the U.S. Census, in April and May of last year, 19% of families couldn't send their child to daycare because of 3 things. It was either the cost, concerns over safety, or their daycare provider just wasn't available.
There are family child care homes out there that are not licensed that are doing a good job. And there are family child care homes out there that are licensed that aren't doing a great job. That's why we're here to help you navigate the system.
Mindy Bennett with Child Care Aware of America says you need to ask the right questions. How long have you been working with children? Are you CPR certified? What type of training do you have? Do you have insurance? And ask to see the documentation. Don't just take their word for it. She also says tour the facility or home and trust your gut. Pay for a background check. Look up a provider's license. Go online and read their ratings, reviews, and inspection reports.
The dinosaurs say.
Luke is doing much better now. The Herrings want other families to learn from their story.
It will forever haunt me that I didn't ask the right questions.
For Investigate TV, I'm Rachel DePompa.
In South Carolina, the average cost for an infant in a family child care in 2021 was $7,900 a year. In Georgia, it's $7,200. Stick with us. We have much more news and weather coming up after a short break.
Zaxby's Ace Attorney John Boy and Associates.
We know what your case is worth, and we won't stop until we recover every dollar you deserve.
What makes the Icox Law Firm different?
For starters, we've served this community for over 45 years.
And we know that every client is unique. We consider you friends, neighbors, and family.
We prove it in the way we fight tirelessly for your justice.
Let the Icox Law Firm fight for the justice you deserve.
cleaning up our beautiful landscapes. And we are doing it together, citizens and government working together towards a common goal, a litter-free South Carolina. The Great South Carolina Cleanup is coming. Gather your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues, and be part of this great movement. We all want clean communities, but we need your help to get there. When citizens are engaged in litter prevention, we can truly make a difference. For more information, please visit palmettopride.org.
Excuse our